Antes de iniciar con este pequeño bloque, con esta pequeña explicación, les recuerdo que será completamente en inglés para que podamos entenderlo. Empezamos. Hello everyone, I hope that you are having a good day. I'm going to explain the first topic that you need to understand. So the first one, it is the past simple. Past simple, it is divided into blocks. The first one is the past simple number 1 and the past simple number 2. Past simple number 1, I explained that because we have the regular verbs, and the other one, it is with irregular verbs. So that's why we have like two past simples, but they are the same. They explain the same ideas, and obviously they are in past, but the idea it is that one use the regular verbs and the other one use the irregular verbs. So I'm going to explain that. So first of all, why do we use the past simple? If you see the past simple, it is used to talk about actions that happened in the past, obviously in a period, in a point in the past, action that happened obviously in the past, and completed actions that took place at a specific time in the past. For example, yesterday I traveled to Tijuana. So if you see that idea, it is in past. Maybe you can say she did the homework at school. So if you see, those ideas are in past, and I use at the beginning when I say I traveled to Tijuana, that action, it is in past simple with the regular verb. Why? Because the regular verb travel, at the end we include ed. That ed means that the verb it is in past, traveled. So we use the ed at the end. And the other one, she did the homework in the school. When you say she did the homework, that idea has an irregular verb. That means that the verb doesn't follow the ed rule. And I'm going to explain that in a few minutes. So I'm going to start with the first one, with the regular verbs, because they are very easy to understand. The idea of this is that you understand that the regular verbs end with ed, and the verb will be in past. For example, traveled. The other one could be opened, like ed, open it. The other one will be used with ed, etc. So those are verbs with ed. Now, how do you form them? First of all, in Moodle, I'm going to send the list, regular verbs and irregular verbs. So you need to check them because the verbs change when you use them in past. You will see the Spanish translation if you don't know them, and also you will see the infinitive and then the past simple form. So please take a look at them and don't forget to check them. Now, how do we use them? So you need to check the list and you need to understand the regular verbs. Most of them, they use ed. For example, walk, work, use, open, close, etc. So those verbs you can use them in past, adding ed or simple ed, and that's it. So please take a look at them. And the rules are here. I'm going to tell you how do we use the rules in English. So, as I say, most of them use ed. The first rule that you need to understand is that most of them, they use ed. The second rule, if the verb ends with e, for example, dance, include only a d at the end of the idea and you have a past simple. Another example, if the verb ends with y, for example, play, you need to include only ed, played. But not all of them, because some of these verbs that end with y, they change. For example, buy. Buy, it is an irregular verb. In the past, we say that like bought. For example, I buy a car. We bought a car. So that one is in past. And well, so we have only exceptions. So you need to take a look at the list of verbs. Another example, when we have consonant, vowel, and consonant, we need to double the last consonant. For example, stop. When you say stop, you need to double the P because that one is the last consonant. Stopped. So we need to include ed at the end. And well, so as I said, I will include the list of verbs in Moodle so you can check the verbs in past simple with the regular verbs ed. The other list, it is with the irregular verbs. Those irregular verbs, they don't follow rule. So they change completely in past simple. For example, if you say drink, the past is drank. If you say buy, the past is bought. If you say draw, the past is drew. If you say sing, the past is sung. So you need to take a look at them. And the same, I will include the list of these verbs in Moodle so you can check them. Now, I'm going to explain how do we use the structure. First of all, positive, negative, and question. Positive form, I will use the verb, a regular verb. I will use the verb use, like use a cell phone, use a toy, etc. For example, I used a toy. He used a toy. She, it, we, they, you used a toy. If you see the verb used needs to be with the, and now we have a past simple. If you want to make the negative, so you need to say the subject. I, you, he, she, it, we, they didn't use. Now take a look at this. The verb use will not have the at the end. Why? Because you have didn't. Didn't means in Spanish, well, not in Spanish, it is the negative form, but we are using it like in a conjugation. So that means that we don't need to use the at the end of the verb. For example, in a positive way, I used my cell phone. That one is positive. The negative way is I didn't use my cell phone. If you see, we need to delete the at the end of the verb, only for the negatives. If you want to make the question, you need to move did at the beginning. For example, did I use my cell phone? Did you use the cell phone? Did he use the cell phone? So if you see, the did will be at the beginning of the sentence, but not with not. So we need to say did, not didn't. Only did you use the cell phone, and that's it. So that means the question form. So now you have the positive, now you have the negative, and then you have the question form. I'm going to make a review. I use my cell phone. Positive. I didn't use my cell phone. Negative. Did I use my cell phone? That one, it is a question form. So please don't forget that. So that one is a short explanation because you will see this explanation obviously in Moodle. I will include the list of verbs, I will include the explanations, and you will see how do we use it. So please take a look at them. Now, what about the irregular verbs? I'm gonna use the example break. Break, it is, well, you know that. So it is like break a rule, break the windows, break the cell phone, etc. Now everyone, the same. I will include the list of verbs, irregular verbs in Moodle, so you will see the Spanish translation and you will see the verb. Now, break in past, it is broke. So if you see broke, it is the past of break, and break doesn't follow the rules of the ed. So that's why we'll call them irregular verbs. Example, I break a rule, you break a rule. Sorry, it is in past. Examples, I broke a rule, I broke the window, you broke the window, we broke the door, they broke the cell phone, something like that. So that one is in past simple. If you want to make that in negative, the same. I didn't break the window. So if you see, break means in Spanish, so it is this. But remember, when you use the negative, we need to use the base form. I didn't break the window, it is negative. I broke the window, it is positive. So please don't forget that. If you want to make the question, so you need to move did at the beginning of the sentence. For example, did I break the window? Did you break the door? So if you see, those are the question form. The same, I will explain that in Moodle. I will include all the information, all the structures, so you can take a look at them. And so with that, you are not going to have problems. Everyone, before we finish with this explanation, don't forget that you have a chat in Moodle, so you can tell me if you have questions, etc. By the way, you have my email too. If you want to send me an email, you can send me an email, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to check if you want help, etc. Please, everyone, take a look at these explanations, take a look at the exercises, everything, it is in order. I know that you will do it okay because it is not a difficult topic. Everyone, today we finished with this explanation. I hope that you are doing okay, and please let me know if you have any questions. I hope to see you soon, and I hope that you have a good day. Thank you.